Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Come Code With Me. I'm still the Jace Man, Jace Barnett. Yesterday, on episode 1, we took a look at reviewing Yandex Practicum's new web developer course. I mentioned that they also have other courses that they're going with, data science and data analysis. We're going to cover both of those web intros in the same video because basically the intro course for data science and data analyst look like they're the same course at this point. Again, subject to change in the future, but right now, no matter which of those two courses you take, it looks like you start in the same spot. I can't tell the difference anyway, so I'm not going to waste your time by covering information 2 times. If I find out I'm wrong, I'll come back and do that, but right now it looks like the intro course for data science and data analysis are the same. So this video will cover the intro for both of those. Without further ado, let's take a look at what Yandex is offering for our data folks. You heard what I thought yesterday as far as web development goes. You know, I think it's a home run overall, and that the instruction is top flight and good. Will data analysis stack up the same? Let's find out. Alright, so I have not yet completed the data scientist course, so I have started on it, and there are a couple things already that I want to point out, and I will also give a disclaimer right away and say if you watched my first video, you heard me talk about how good I thought the web developer course for Yandex was. I have to say right off the bat that the data scientist course for me thus far, and keep in mind it's still beta, I've also reported this to them when I'm getting ready to tell you, and they say they're aware of that and they're working on it, but I'm an honest guy, so I'm going to let you know that I don't think it is to the same high quality level. The web developer course, when they tell you to do something, the instruction they give you is very, very easy to understand. In the data scientist course so far, I think they're giving a lot of instruction that seems to me to be ambiguous. Part of that may be, you guys might feel the same way about web developer, I don't know. The issue now is we're studying Python, whereas before we were doing HTML, CSS, which I know pretty darn good. So maybe it was just intuitive to me because I automatically know what to do. Python is a lot newer to me. It's not like I'm starting from zero again, but I'm definitely not a Python developer by any stretch of the imagination. So maybe their instruction is better than I think, or a good comparison to web developer. But my initial thinking is no, it's not as good, and it's more ambiguous and not as direct. And when I gave them that feedback directly, they actually agreed and said they were aware of it. So, so there you have it. But anyway, I wanted to get back in here to finish my studies because that's what I need to do. I can't take the full course until I complete the intro. But there's also a few things I wanted to show you. So you can see that I made it through the first lesson. Well, actually, I did not. My bad. Or, yeah, I did. That was, that's why I got a check mark there. I just noticed that there's some wonderful little Russian stuff here that I did not notice before. Looks like they're adding some content to that. But I'm going to go back to my course and start on my topic 2. And they're telling me I can't because I did not complete course lesson 1. So I don't know what the check mark is there for. Let's get back in here real quick. Let me go here and complete the conclusion. We'll see what is up here. I do apologize for this. What we've learned from the data. Okay, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Clicking next. And that brought me right back here. So, this is going to be a pretty short video because I'm going to have to let them know that what I'm experiencing here, let them know that I can't seem to go on. So I got to figure out what's going on there. So one of the neat things is they do have this excellent helper tool right here. And you can talk to people. So I can click on this. log into my Facebook. But this is, even though I found this error, this is still something worth mentioning because, as I mentioned in the first one, they have a Slack channel. You can also message them via email. You can communicate with them on Facebook, and you can communicate with them on WhatsApp. So there's multiple ways to communicate with them about their course as well. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to end this recording now, although for you guys it's probably going to seem seamless because I'm going to come back to this video once this has been rectified and resolved. Okay guys, I'm back. I have not yet heard from the crew at Yandex Practicum, although I would not have expected to. It hasn't been that long. I was just able to do what I do, coming from my career past as a quality assurance engineer, kind of tinker and play and get my way through it so that I could see some new content. So this is actually good. This shows what happens when you're messing with a beta product. And I also said that it didn't seem as polished yet as the web developer course. So I think that kind of showed you an example immediately, right off the bat. But for anyone who is doing this and gets stuck at the same place I was, I'll show you what I did to get past it. So here we were in our little course, and we were down here through the conclusion topic. You see these all have check marks now. So all I did basically was I just hit next, and it took me to this blank page. So I'm assuming that they're developing some content and it's coming soon. So I hit next again. I hit next on the final page, and then I got to see, hey, we're getting ready to go into something new here. Various emojis. That's my variable set to that string. That's fantastic. Then it says we are going to print it. Okay. Now this right here, for those of you who don't know, this is commenting your code. So everything to the right of this, the interpreter is going to ignore. All right. So it's going to see this, but it's not going to see this. Now we want to use the print function. So we are going to go print. Boom. And what we're going to do is we're just going to print our intro text. And in theory, it should show the contents of our string down here. So run our code, check. See, I wasn't even paying attention. They already had this there. Okay, that's because, so I'm getting an error here, but this actually works out great because this is one of the things I wanted to show you. I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that I had just told you guys here. So they had the right code here, and then they had the this part, none of this was here, because basically they were already starting me off with my variable, and they just wanted me to put the string in here. But here's what I wanted to point out. This is actually something that I told them was broken, and they need to fix. So their interpreter is not telling you the right line number for your error. So right off the bat, that's why I looked at the result, and I was like, what? What did I do wrong? I didn't think I did anything wrong. Turns out I didn't do anything wrong, except I ignored where they wanted me to put the code. So it says right here, on file main.py, that's the file that we're writing in here. It says our error is on line 4, and then it tells you intro text is equal to this. It doesn't know what to do with this, because we said a variable, and then we set it equal to, we didn't tell it what it was equal to, because we put some comment. So, as you can see, this is actually on line 1. My error is on line 1, but it's telling us that our error is on line 4. So that is not good. So that is something that is definitely broken. It's a bug in their interpreter, and hopefully they will get it fixed soon. But this was the big thing that I told you about earlier. So basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this here. I could just delete this line, actually. Why don't I just do that? Why don't I just make this line 1? There we go. So I've still got the comment there. There's our string. There's our intro text. We'll check it again. And boom. You can see that it says, Jace, you're a smart guy. It doesn't actually say, Jace, you're a smart guy, but that's what it's telling us in case you guys disagree. So basically what I did is I set my variable to the string they told us to use, and then I told it to print my variable. So it did. We're studying the statistics of various emojis. Bam! You correctly completed the task. We'll look at the next one. Strings can sometimes consist of more than just letters. They can also include symbols. Try to print out strings with the symbolic alternative of several emojis. You can see them depicted in the table below. So let's see here. Try to print out strings with the symbolic representation. So these guys, basically. So here's what we're going to do. I think I know what it's wanting me to do, but I'm not 100% sure that I know what it's wanting me to do, and that's what I was talking about before, where I think the instruction is a bit ambiguous. I think what it's saying is, it's not wanting me to tell it to print the emoji right now. I think what it's wanting me to do is have it print, like, this, and this, and this. But I'm going to look at a hint and see if it gives me some information here. Finish the code. Smile, which is our variable, is equal to the following string. Laughing kid. Yep, so that's exactly what they're doing as we look over here. Smile is equal to. So that's exactly what they were looking for. So what we're going to do is we're going to say smile is equal to our string. And I'm going to use, notice they use the single quotes. I'm going to stick with double quotes because I did it on the last time, and I just believe that you should be consistent. Boom. And I end there, so that is our string. I'm going to go down to the next line. And I'm going to say laughing is our new variable. And it is equal to, we look here, that's how you make laughing. So we're going to go colon, hyphen, capital D, and we have a new variable there. We have one more to do, kiss. Okay, so we'll set a new variable for kiss. Kiss is equal to the following string. You do a kiss with a colon and a hyphen and a star. And then they've already told it to print the stuff for us. And all you can see what they're doing is all they're saying is print. They don't type the string, they type the variable. And the variable is holding our string, so it's going to print the content of that variable. So it says print smile, print laughing, print kiss. That all looks good to me, so I think we're good to go. So we'll hit check. And yay, we correctly completed the task. So that is what they were wanting us to do, was have it do those. All right, and I think there was a third task, so we'll go on down here. My mouse does not really like scrolling on this. All right, emojis can also be written into strings. I'm going to scroll here. However, they might not be displayed correctly in specific browsers and operating systems. For that reason, we won't use them in our code. But in this task, you can try and see if they work for you. The check button in this task does not actually check anything. Click it in order to advance to the next task. Okay, well, in this case, it's not giving us anything to do. It's just a freebie task. But here's what it's saying. Heart, which is our variable, is equal to the actual emoji of the heart. Fire is equal to the emoji fire. Shrug is equal to the shrug emoji. Print each of those variables, so it should print the contents of our strings, which is the emoji themselves. And you can see that it actually did it. Yay. Okay, so that's it. I basically showed you guys the one thing I wanted to show you, which was the bug with the interpreter telling you the wrong line error. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. I'm going to finish up this topic, this course topic that it said was going to take the 3 hours, and I'm going to report back here once I finish it up, and I will let you know how long it actually took me, okay? Okay, guys, I'm back. And for you, I've never left. You know, it was instantaneous. But in truth, it's the next day, as you can see from the address bar. And no, it did not take me, for 16 hours to complete that topic of the course. But I thought it would take me less than the 3 hours they estimated. It took me right at 3, maybe even 3.5. But that is to say, of the time that I actually spent doing the course and following the lesson plan, writing the code, I'd say that part probably only took about an hour and 20 minutes. The extra 2 hours or so was waiting for support and talking about the course with fellow students and really trying to figure out what in the world they were asking me to do with the curriculum tasks. Um, so we talked about the bug in the interpreter telling the wrong line number, but also just in general, I bragged about the web developer intro course so far and how clear the directions were. I'm not getting that with the data scientist program at all. I've told them, again, to their credit, they are responsive, they are listening, they're actually taking the criticism seriously, and honestly, I don't know if it's hurting their feelings or upsetting them, but they're not showing that. They're showing a very mature attitude. They're apologizing for it, and they're saying that they're working on it. They're taking the feedback seriously to correct the course. So I am going to do right by them and right by you by continuing to go through the course, continuing to submit my feedback, and I will continue coming back here and telling you, because I'll go back and relook at the lessons and see what changes they have made. So right now, if you're watching this for the first time and you're thinking about it, I would tell you, hey, as a beta tester, you got to keep in mind that this is a beta program, and if you come aboard, there are going to be some growing aches and pains, not just from learning the code, but from the way it's being presented in the data scientist course. And if it was a paid program, to be honest with you, I couldn't recommend you pick it up right now. I honestly could not recommend that you spend money on it with the instruction being what it is now. But again, they're saying they're taking the feedback seriously and they're going to rectify it. So to be fair to them, to be fair to you, I would say, hey, take a pass if you're getting your wallet out. But to be fair to them, I'll continue looking at it as they make adjustments and changes. And if it gets better, I'll come back here and let you know, hey, they are improving it, and this is a solid course that you may want to spend some money on. But right now, I'd say it's a good thing that it's in beta, and it's a good thing that it's free, because I couldn't endorse paying for it at this point in time. That's just me being honest. So one of the things I want to do is I want to take a look at why, and you guys can see if I'm being nitpicky or if my criticism is fair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring over the Slack channel over here, and I'm going to show you about one of the issues I dealt with. And here's what it says. We've got this data right here, okay? And basically all of these are different emoji. These are where it shows on Emoji Express, Instagram, and Twitter. Here's the numbers of these in millions when these appear. And we're just trying to analyze and see which of these emojis are most common and up across the platforms, okay? For this particular task, it says for each emoji, calculate the ratio of its quantity on Twitter. Okay, so that's going to be our third data set in our numbers here, our third number, I guess I should say, because the emoji itself is a data set. So our fourth number, so this would be row 0, 1, 2, and 3. So that fourth one, row 3, is going to be our Twitter, and we're going to compare it to its quantity on Instagram, which would be our third data set, or row 2. Okay. Print the result on the screen in the format given below with all the ratios rounded to 2 decimal places. So here's what they're saying. They want it to be in this format here. Emoji name, then our little bracket, Twitter, Instagram ratio, so grading 85.59, beaming, okay, so on and so forth, okay? So I scroll down, look at my code here. Okay, so this is my completed code. Again, I do apologize for that. I wish there was some way I could click start over and not have my code in here. But what I want to do is I want to say that based on what this instruction says here, maybe it jumps out to you right away what they wanted. Basically, what they had left me with was, you could say that this information wasn't here. So we had print emoji name and here, and this is the part that they wanted us to figure out. I had no idea what they were asking for, so I did click on the hint, okay? The hint gives you this right here. 4-row in data, and then it has a comment, store the emoji name column 0, and then it says in the variable name equal, and then we have a comment here again. I found this to be incredibly confusing here. First of all, I think what they were trying to say is, I think what happened here is this is all their interpreter, their code block that they're using for their code here. I think it's automatically keying in on certain words from Python to highlight them. That actually proved problematic here. What I mean by that is for, and in are going to be words that are going to be special in Python that they're going to want to highlight on the screen to say, hey, you want to pay attention to this data, right? Well, the problem with that is since this was not in a comment, and I kind of think that this should have been in a comment anyway, but because it wasn't, it tells me to use the code, basically. Since it's not in a comment, it's saying here, and then it says write code here. So I figured I could just copy this entire line into my code, so it would be right here, okay? I'll give you an example. So here's my code, okay? We're going to take a line down, okay? I figured I could take this right here and move it over here. Well, the problem is when I tried to run the task, the interpreter, and I think it was correct in doing this, it kept yelling at me and saying there's a syntax error here. It's not expecting to find in inside of this in. We have a loop running, and we're saying you need to run this loop as long as you're looking at the rows that are in what? Well, in our data. Okay? Well, then I'm saying we'll take a look in something else. So it's saying look within, and it choked. But the way it's written here, it's not in a comment, so I thought I should just put in, and then it says the variable name here. Well, I really think that they meant to have a space here, because I think that this hint is just supposed to be a comment. So I think what they should have done would have been to comment the code like this, and then I think they should have had a space here between variable and name, white space. Because the only thing that really tipped me off, and I stared at this for way too long, was I looked at the free pre-code they gave me over here, and down here where it's formatted, it says print, and then I looked at what was being formatted. And what was being formatted was the variable name and the variable ratio, which I had to create the variable ratio as well. But because I already saw that we were formatting a variable named name, I thought, oh, I bet the variable name, or this the is not even supposed to be here, period, and variable name is not actually a variable. It's saying in the variable space name, this is where you're going to want to store the information. So it took me a long time to figure this out, and I actually think that their hint, which is supposed to be helpful, I thought that their hint made it much, much harder, and it was really, really tough for me to figure out what they wanted just from them asking. But once I went to the hint, it only got worse. I eventually struggled and got to the right answer, but I don't think it was due to their instruction or their teaching. I think it was just a matter of trial and error, me having some previous exposure, and honestly getting lucky. So I'm going to get rid of this and make my code get back to where it was. So this is just, I don't know if you guys will agree or not, but my criticism to them and my feedback, constructive criticism, would be that when they're giving these hints, they should actually probably stick information that you're not putting into the code editor directly. They should stick that in a comment like they have here. So they're commenting what's going to happen, right? They're commenting that we are about to store the emoji name from column 0, right? But this is not actually going into our code block. So I think that this should be a comment as well. And I really think that there should definitely be a white space between variable and name. Yeah, there should be a white space between those two characters. And they should have a comment code here saying in the variable name, you're going to do this. And then in the next line, what they would have would be name equals, and then their little code block right here. So I'm going to open up Notepad here real quick. You guys watching the video may totally disagree with me, and you guys might think that their information is better. So this is just one man's opinion. But if I was going to use their hint to accomplish the same task here, here's probably how I would write this hint. And I would actually I'm only going to use their verbiage. So if I was writing it, I'd actually make the verbiage a little cleaner as well. But here's what I would do based upon the information they provided. So for row in data, comment store in emoji name column 0. Then I would take this here, and I'm just going to copy this and add a new line. I'm going to put a comment here so that the person reading this, the student, and who's ever viewing your code, knows that this is not code that's going into the thing. And I would say in the variable name, I might even get rid of this here. I think I probably would. Just get rid of this here. Store the emoji name from column 0 in the variable name. That's probably how I would do it. You could actually probably stick all of this. If you wanted to make it a single line comment instead of a double line comment, you could just do this right here and then get rid of this line. But if you wanted a multi-line comment, you could do it that way too. Either way, I wouldn't really care how it was presented to me as a student. But then down here, what I would have would be, now that we know that it's in our data set, we don't need this in the variable, which again was very confusing. So I would just have name equals, and then I'd say write the code here where their comment is, because that's the way they do their formatting. So now we know that whatever we're setting our variable name to, that information is coming right here to replace our comment. Right? Down here they've got this thing here. Now we're going to store the Twitter Instagram ratio in the variable. Well, again, it didn't really tell us what variable we're talking about, but they did provide the code here of ratio, and it's down here. I probably would have went ahead and added ratio here so that you know exactly what variable we're talking about. But since they pre-coded it, the variable name here, and put it here, I guess I could give them a pass. Although if we're making a curriculum, I really don't think the goal should be to give a pass. It should be give direct, concise, clear information and instruction, right? So I probably would have that there. So then they have here ratio equals, and then the rest. So if they would have provided me with this information here, I think I probably could have gotten here, which I did get to anyway, but I think I probably could have gotten there an hour sooner than what I did, because it was not clear at all to me. Not only was it not clear to me what they were asking, but once I looked at the hint and I kind of got an idea a little bit, it was not clear to me what in the world this meant. And it wasn't even clear to the interpreter, because when I copied and pasted, using this, I expected to have to fix something beyond here. I expected to have to give them some code, right? But I did not expect for the interpreter to yell at me about this information, because they provided that information. And the interpreter was right away saying, we don't expect there to be an N here, so I don't know what you're doing. Well, why did I give them the N? Because they told me to, right? So that's one example of, so far, a course full of these where A, I don't feel like they're telling you what to do, and B, when they do tell you what to do, they give you a hint that doesn't really look related to the instruction all that much, but then even the hint has to be, you either have to tinker or fix the hint, or you have to figure out what the hint is actually doing. And I don't think a hint should make things more challenging for you, right? I feel like the question itself is a puzzle. The hint should add some clarity to the puzzle. But oftentimes when I'm going through the course, I find that the task, this right here, the task, I find that it is a puzzle, which I would expect. I find that this is a puzzle that I need to figure out. But then I find that the hint is another puzzle. And I don't think that that's really what's supposed to have happen. So I struggled with it. Like I said, they said it would take about 3 hours. So props to them. It took exactly about the length of time they said, or I was actually a little slow because it took me, like I said, about 3 hours and 20 minutes or 3 hours and 30 minutes. But 2 hours of that was support time and fighting and being stressed out and walking away from the computer to go get a drink. And about an hour time was actually spent working and going through the material. So that's my feedback. It's honest. It's there. Do what you want with it. All right, thanks.